The last couple of chapters have been really good, and I have just enjoyed everything about them, especially the recent ones that involved Percival and who he actually is, and we actually dealt with the behemoth, and now, with this chapter, the actual conflict of the arc is about to proceed as we kind of expected it to, and I am hyped to see what comes next. Before we get into this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help. Only 26% of the people that watch my videos are subscribed to the channel, so if you do watch my videos and you like what I make, please subscribe and see whenever I upload videos every week, as I do Fortnite's videos every single week, and follow the chapters of the manga, as well as other series outside of Fortnite's The Apocalypse. With that out of the way, let's get right into the chapter. So chapter 118 of Fortnite's The Apocalypse, titled The Battle Trigger. Very aptly named, as this chapter is basically going to trigger the actual battle for the arc. We start things off right at the end of the previous chapter, where Percival told everybody that the behemoth is asleep, and they're asking how that happened, and when did Percival do so. Lance brought up the fact that it was probably while Percival was in his trance, and Percival kind of said, I guess that's how it went. And so they ask what happened, and Percival kind of is stuttering and is not entirely sure how to tell them what he was told from his basic stand power and the thing about the behemoth, but he says he talked with the life spirits that are inside the behemoth. But Chion then begins to laugh and question Percival. He said, "You talked with life spirits," as he's in disbelief, as apparently they're among the loftiest of all spiritual creatures. Chion, being Chion, begins to insult Percival, as An just shoves him away and asks Percival if he's okay. Percival stops for a moment and says, "Yeah, I'm just fine," as An just looks at Percival and says, "Alright then." But Isolde notices that something's up with An. An definitely knows that Percival is lying, but I guess she's not utilizing her powers to make him like heavy or something from what I can tell. But then Isolde notices something and points out the door to Camelot. They're right in front of it. My one criticism that this was very quickly brought to our attention, but at the same time, it's perfectly fine because they were in a giant mist and they weren't really sure where it was. So I can forgive that. It is very convenient, but it is what it is. I'm kind of glad that we kind of get this out of the way as well. Either way, I like this portal that seems to be opened to Camelot. We see a castle from there, and yeah, the Chaos Knights notice that that is the door. Schwartz says that it has to be, as Tristan tells everybody to start running for the door as fast as they can. But as they begin, Percival points out that they got to save and get Gawain back before they go to Camelot. So Donnie and An get ready to help Percival. But then, the squid-headed guy with the goddess powers leaps from behind Gawain, as Gawain tells everybody to run away as fast as they can, as he grabs his sword from his side and tells them they're not going anywhere. As we then get 3 panels that spread across a full 2 pages of this knight drawing their sword, as he says, "Sword draw art, merciful wind." As we then see that he does a huge slash attack that slashes through a lot of the mountain, or maybe hairs, from the behemoth's back. As we then see that his sword was kicked away by who other than Lancelot himself, as Lancelot saw the kick coming, and Lancelot, in a beautiful 2-page spread, kicks the knight square in the gut. And I just love this image. It is chef's kiss beautiful. I do feel like Lancelot is Nakamo's favorite character, just like Bond was his favorite character, and that's why Lancelot gets so much love in a lot of these panels. It's like, I don't know, I love Lancelot. He gets all the best moments at this point, and I am not mad in the slightest. I don't think anybody's mad that Lancelot gets cool moments. But as Lancelot kicks him out, the knight grabs Lancelot and takes him into the sky. Now before we continue this chapter, I'm just going to point this out right away. I think we are all right in assuming that this squid helmet knight with goddess powers is not a she. It's been fairly obvious ever since they brought up, using goddess powers to keep them from dying from the miasma in the demon world. So it makes a lot of sense. It was very obvious. considering Nanashi pledges loyalty to Arthur in Seven Deadly Sins, but this literally flat out confirms that this is Nanashi. I mean, the attack is even the same thing that he used when he fought that great demon in Seven Deadly Sins. It's so obvious. I need to see how he looks like underneath that helmet post-time skip, if he looks the same, if he looks different. I just want his actual name to be shown. And you want to know why he chose to stick by Arthur? It's probably revenge for the Goddess Clan or something, because he's no longer considered of a goddess, most likely. But I want to see more of his reasoning for why he stuck with Arthur, besides that he already swore allegiance to him. Because Nanashi could be a very interesting character, if done right, with the situation that he's in. But we then cut back to everybody looking as Lancelot is brought away, and Lancelot actually managed to save them and the door from being cut by Nanashi's slash. I'm going to call him Nanashi, it's easier. Because, literally, he was about to slash both the entire group and the doorway to Camelot in a single blow. And it's like that Molich is giving Lancelot due diligence for what he did in stopping the door from being destroyed and managing to predict what Nanashi was about to do and stop it from destroying the door and killing his comrades. I like it when other characters give Lancelot some credit. I don't know why, it's probably because Lancelot's my favorite character. I'm going to stop now and continue with the chapter. So we see that Nanashi just barely missed the door with his slash, and the doorway is in fact safe. But the rest of the knights go forward to block their pathway, saying they can't allow them to step forward any longer. The prophecy has to end here. As, yeah, even though Gawain and the other demon knights have been captured, and Nanashi is gone with Lancelot, presumably to fight for a short period of time, we still got these 6 knights getting ready to face off against the 4 knights and their comrades. And I just like, because this is something that I honestly forgot, it's been a while since I've revisited the Sastana arc, but points out that he took Ironside after their fight with him in Sastana. And she's right, Molich appeared so long ago that I completely forgot about him. I'm ashamed to say that, but I completely forgot about him up until it was mentioned right here. And this shows that outside of Seven Deadly Sins, I'm due for a reread of Fortnite: The Apocalypse to refresh myself on certain aspects so I don't forget things. Molich then begins to say that he would have preferred if Ironside, his brother-in-law, gave Percival the punishment he so richly deserved. But he says, I suppose he'll have to take the task up instead. Which, okay. I'm not entirely sure if Molich actually knows Percival is actually Ironside's kid, or was Ironside's kid, and then was possessed by a life spirit. There were a lot of theories in the previous chapter review about the potential that Percival was possessed by a life spirit as a baby, or maybe Percival died and then a life spirit took it over, or Percival's parents summoned life spirits to bring Percival back to life. I have no idea, but those are some good theories, and maybe Molich also knows who Percival is, but maybe he doesn't. Either way, he tells Percival that since he's a member of the Fortnite: The Apocalypse, he challenges him to a one-on-one duel. Which, honestly, very honorable of him. Not just going to have all the knights fight all at once. He wants to fight Percival one-on-one. Which is actually funny, because that was actually Percival's main training during this arc. Well, even though it's coincidental, I do like this, because Percival fighting one-on-one was his main weakness, especially in terms of swordsmanship. And he started to learn more about his powers, thanks to that stand ability. But either way, I can't wait to see what happens in this actual fight. But then Rosebank calls out to Percival not to give him a reply, and says that he'll be done for if he does. And Donnie and Ozzy are asking why she's helping them, and Molich is asking, what are you doing by this? Rosebank then begins to take off her helmet and asks, do they really need to fight to the death? As she reveals that Percival was enough of a man to save her life even after he learned who she was, saying that if they just talk this out, they're bound to reach some kind of understanding. So, yeah, I do hope we get to see more of Rosebank just voicing her thoughts, and also the fact that becoming an actual character for the story. I hope she stays, because building up this importance of her, I do think that she should have some sort of importance in the plot, instead of just being a toss-away character. Either way, I want to see what happens with Rosebank, because I think this could make something more interesting. I did expect Rosebank to just maybe help Percival and the gang at some point, and it came like I expected, but still, I'm still curious to see how this will turn out. But Molich then just tells Rosebank that she has to remember that they swore to protect what they hold dear and defeat the group of knights fated to destroy Camelot. Rosebank is obviously concerned, even though that she knows Percival seems like a nice guy, but Percival just says, "Alright, I'll accept your challenge." And that is how we end this chapter. And I'm not gonna lie, good chapter, and I cannot wait for the next one. Because here's the thing, Lancelot spent a whole week training Percival to fight with a sword, and Percival learned more about his abilities. So I do feel like it is incredibly overdue for Percival to have a one-on-one fight that he might actually win. My thing is, will Percival fight with his own powers, just base combat skill, without having to rely on his hope abilities to power him up and increase his senses? Or will he use all that from the get-go and give Molench a good fight and maybe win at the end? I'm not sure. What I kind of hope for is Percival fighting just his base physical strength first, and as the fight goes on, he will use his hope powers, the powers of the life spirit that he are his actual magical abilities that we learned from these last two chapters, to power himself up in order to fight Molench. And if this is true, if we do get this full fight uninterrupted, we might actually have Percival get his first major win in the series by himself since his fight with Tulsker back in Echo Gorge, which was 90 chapters ago. Let me remind you, Percival has now won a fight by himself since Echo Gorge. Sestana, he had his friends helping him. Ironside would have utterly eviscerated them if Naziennes did not put poison on Sword, and she didn't scratch Ironside, slowly weakening him over time. In Cant, they had to deal with a freaking dragon. Percival was able to stop the attacks, but he didn't beat the dragon. It was Hauser who beat the dragon. Then we get to the demon village, and it was Gowther that saved the day at the end. Percival beat a giant monster, and, well, the knight that they fought was weak, but Gowther saved the day at the end. Tangled Forest. Lancelot had everybody working together to beat their respective opponents. And at the end of the day, he had to save the day. Leonis. Percival beat Galland technically because Gawain dealt a major blow for Percival to put a Percival bomb golem inside Galland as he was resurrecting. Percival got his ass beat by Galland. Tristan saved the day. Then Arthur appeared. Tristan and Percival got knocked out like it was nothing. Meliodas saved the day for a bit. And then Lancelot basically took care of Arthur until Arthur decided to leave. And in Walneck, well, it was basically Han that saved the day. Percival died. He didn't even fight. That's how quickly he was taken out by an assassin. So Percival is majorly overdue, especially for a shonen MC, to get an actual W in an arc. This is the longest I think any MC has gone in shonen where they had to fight multiple villains arc by arc, where he didn't have one major win per arc by himself. I think this is the longest stretch, I believe. So Percival is definitely overdue for this, and I cannot wait to see this fight, to see Molench's abilities, and see Percival actually fight on his own, and I kind of hope he wins. But what I'm very looking forward to the most is Lancelot against Nanashi, because that fight has the potential to give Lancelot a good fight, to use more power, to be more serious, since Arthur and even he didn't go all out at that point. But that's basically the video. There's not much else for me to talk about at this moment, and I don't want to make this way too long. But what did you think of this chapter? Leave your thoughts, opinions, and theories down in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help, and it shows you guys like the content I make here on the channel. And with all that said and done, hope you all have an awesome day.